Hi there, welcome back to another video. For those who don't know me, my name is Sachin. So as you can see from the title of this video, you'll get to know what I'm going to discuss today. So today I would like to discuss with you how to read cases, how to analyze cases, what things to pick out from cases. When you first come to law school, you don't know how to read a case. It's just typical for all law students joining for the first time. Because there's a variety of things when it comes to reading a case, and there's one way where a lot of people read a case. Either you can read word by word from the case, or you can skim read the case, which a lot of people do. Today I'm going to show you my way of how I read the case and what things I can pick out from a case. Now, when you join law school, there's one assignment which you first learn to do. Now this is a case presentation. This case presentation is basically was about a case where this person was causing disorderly behavior under Section 401A of the Summary Offences Act 1981, and this person was arrested. Now before the arrest was made, there's a lot of people living in apartments nearby could overhear this person screaming, and due to the person screaming, people couldn't sleep. They even tried shutting their windows, so a lot of them had reported it to the police. The police came and arrested her for disorderly conduct, and she was arrested and sent to trial. So when the case was introduced to me, I was like, Sachin, come on, you got this. I started reading the case word by word, but the thing is, because as a first year law student, I had no clue on what things to pick out to analyze the case, because the case presentation, they told me to analyze what the decision was, what the court heard, and so on. So, you know, that's the thing. When you're coming to reading a case, you can read the entire case to understand what you're being asked or what the case is basically showing you. But there's other ways where you can easily find out about the case and what the ruling was and what the decision was. Now I'm going to share with you the easiest way to read a case. Now the most easiest way to read a case is skimming reading. I've honestly never skim read a case because I would like to read the entire case, and it doesn't really matter how long it is. I entirely just read the whole case. Now I know a lot of people can't read the entire case word for word, because they don't know what to pick out. That's why a lot of you tend to skim read cases. So I'm going to share with you a couple of ways where you can do this. Now before I do that, I want to share with you now, because I'm in New Zealand, and this applies to the UK as well, a lot of the universities have a subscription. Now the subscription basically either they've subscribed to quite a lot of databases, but the main ones that we use are LexisNexis, or Lexis Advanced, same thing, or we use Westlaw. For most of my cases, which I've picked out, is I've used LexisNexis, but in case that the case is not on LexisNexis, I use Westlaw, where you can have legislation case about case briefing, and then there's a section where you can get the full you can copy the full case citation, which is really helpful if you want to get the full case citation, because it will help for the rest of your assignments. And then you can also go and download the entire PDF. Now the entire PDF you can download and print off in your leisure. Leisurely I read the cases. I read all my cases throughout the whole year, so that's how I came to understand. Now and the entire different thing is how to reference a case, but that will come with a different video. So this is just how to read a case. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on the screen here basically how to get to a LexisNexis, or how to get to Westlaw from the computer, and I will pop it up on the screen here. Anyway, I'll see you on my computer. As you go here, you type in Waikato Law Library. Yep, so you make it to this website. Now under here is where you find books, case law, databases. This is where we want to be. So what you need to do is you go to Lexis Advance, for example, and because my university has a subscription, I'm able to log on. Normally if you have your own subscription, it's going to cost a lot of money. So these are some of the cases which I got this year. Like Nagoya and Wen, that was a case which I did in 104. So let's just, as for the sake of it, let's just go here and let's just click on here. So we click on case citation, and now it will take us to a case. Now when you come here, you'll have a couple of them, but it all depends on what case citation that your law school has given you. So when you go into here, you can actually find the case. So this is the one. So you go to 2017-19 NZCPR1. So first you click on here because you want to access it, right? Now the cool thing about this is you can copy your case citation, and that's the entire case citation, which is really cool. You can copy and paste it into your Word document if you need it, which I'm not currently doing. And then what you can do here is you can click on this. So 2017 NZCA. Now here is really important. So you'll get to find out here who the judges was. For in this instance, in my university, we had to tell what the court, which court it was held in, and we basically used Justice Collins. We didn't use Wolford at all. We just used Justice Collins. And then so here you can read, you can get an idea of what the case is about. So you can read that, and here's the background. So introduction is just the introduction of it. Background is important. It's basically your summary of facts. which is really important to read so you can get an idea of what the case is about. And then you go here, the High Court judgment is also really important, because that's where the judgment made by the High Court is in here. So a reading of what Justice Edwards had to say in this situation, because Justice Edwards was the one who was in there, but Justice Collins was interpreting what Justice Edwards had said. So you're reading all this, and then you can read about the new evidence that was brought to light. It's important that you read about the evidence, every single evidence that was in this case, so you can get an idea about it. And then the court's analysis. This is what the court held. All this is what the court held, and then the conclusion of the case, basically the decision of the case, which you can read here. So that's really important. And then the result. So the result of what the final decision. So for this instance, for the reason we have set out, the above appeal allowed to the judgment and cost of order by the High Court is set aside. A binding contract was formed about 5:30 p.m. on the 14th of January 2014 that was enforceable under Section 24 of the Property Law Act. And we direct it to be performed within 30 days of the date of the judgment. So in this case, basically, it was about the sale and purchase of a house. Basically, there was no offer nor acceptance by the two parties. And the person who made an offer was somebody from Singapore, and he was a doctor. So he came back to New Zealand, wanted to buy a property in Auckland. So Miss Wen put a house price of 5.23 million, but he didn't want to pay 5.23 million, so they tried to negotiate it. So that's what it is. And then the order of what the appeal allowed, the judgment and the cost order made by the High Court is set aside. And then that's about it. But that's just a basic briefing of it. So what you can do is you can click here and download the entire case. So I'm not going to go through the entire case, but this case was heard in the Court of Appeal of New Zealand, between Ngoi and the estate, and also Miss Wen. So this is the entire case. It's about 14 pages long. So this is how I would skim read it. So I wouldn't worry about the introduction. I would start reading from the background. The background is from section 6 all the way to, I would say, section, it's quite a lot, yeah. So here, section 26 until here, that's where you'll hear the background of the case, the summary material facts. You want to know about that. When you first start law school, people tend to read the summary of material facts. For me, I don't skim read. I always tend to read word by word, so I understand the case fully at the fullest extent of the law. And then the High Court judgment is really important. So this is where the court's analysis comes in. So this is all the court's analysis, and then the new evidence that took to light, which you probably need to read, and then that was the judgment, and then this is the court's analysis, what the court found, which is really, really important. So have a read of that. What I did is I read the entire case, because it's only 14 pages long and it's not that long. but there are other cases out there which were much longer, but it's really good because it's all outlined for you. Like for example, in 103 we were actually given the case, but when we went to 104 and 106 we weren't allowed to, we weren't given the case, but we were allowed to search for the case in the database. And that's why in 103 it was really important. It was really important to show how to read a case, how to cite a case, because citing a case is different from other types of referencing, which I'll come to talk about that in a later video. But yeah, so this is the conclusion of what, finally, and the result which the court held. And then that's about it. That's the entire case. So if I were you, what I would do is, obviously you need to read this, then you entirely skip the introduction, read the background, and then you get an idea of what the case is about, and then you can read the High Court judgment, what the High Court held. This is all what the High Court held. The new evidence that was brought to light when they were investigating. Then this is what the court's analysis was in the Court of Appeal. And then finally the result. So final of what the High Court has said. And then that was it. So that's what it was about, and that's the most easiest way. I know a lot of you want to skim read. To be honest, everybody is different. I don't skim read unless the case is like 52 to 200 pages long. I can't read 200 pages all in one night. So what I do is whatever I was told to do for a particular assignment, actually we were given different sections, which made it quite easy for to read. So you don't have to read the entire case, because if you read the entire case, then it would be irrelevant. So what we were given is from a particular section to a particular section, and we were only supposed to read that and then analyze it. So that's my interpretation of how to read a case. So I hope you enjoyed this video.